Hey guys, we now have over 200 episodes of the Open Bedroom podcast, and I thought it would be fun to bring back some of the OG episodes that you probably never heard, but that are actually some of our top trending podcast episodes today. So, what you're going to find in this episode is the most replayed moment of episode 136, how to create a threesome, which is a topic a lot of people want to know about. And I'm going to put the link to the full episode of 136 in the notes below if you want to watch it after this most replayed moment. Hey, I'm Jen, host of the Open Bedroom podcast, where you'll find topics of sex, dating, relationships, non-monogamy, and more. I'm glad you're here. Let's dive in. Anybody out in the world at Walmart, at the grocery store, at the gas station, at a restaurant, what's your biggest sexual fantasy? Most people would say, I want to have a threesome. And what's interesting is the majority of the United States, at least, I would say probably the world, but the majority of humans have never had one, even people in the lifestyle. And so what I thought would be really helpful today is kind of walk through how we've managed to have so many threesomes. In fact, that's the way that we have sex. And so it's just become normal for us. So the first one that's most important is to find alignment with your partner and alignment in the dynamic that you want to move forward in. And so in this case, you and your partner need to be on the same page that you both want to open up your relationship and you want to invite a third person in. So the next thing that you want to understand is what is this person like? What do they look like? What are their what even is their anatomy like, right? Like, do we want to have a woman? Do we want to have a man? Do we want to have somebody that's bisexual? Are we interested in a trans person? Like, there's so many different options out there in terms of sexuality and the way that you show up in the world that might affect the kind of threesome that you want to have. So let's just go for the simplest one, which is typical, which is we're in partnership and we want to have a female join in. Usually that's the easiest because it feels like for some reason that women show up a little bit more bi than men do. At least these days, it's a little bit more tolerated, right? And what I've found is a lot of men have jealousy and things come up when another man is involved. So what we're going to be talking about right now is let's just say we want to have a woman in because we need to have an example that I can use for the rest of this conversation. So we've gotten really clear that we are in an open relationship that's ethical. Everybody knows what's going on. We're an ENM, ethically non-monogamous relationship. We want to have a threesome. And we want to have a threesome with a woman. Great. We can check off number one. We have alignment with our partner, or if we're solo, alignment in what we're looking for. So if you're solo, then you only need to have alignment with yourself, or you say, I know I want to have a threesome. And then you can decide what that looks like. Is it a threesome with two women, a threesome with two men, a threesome with maybe a man and a woman? Maybe it's a couple. Maybe you really enjoy the feeling of being with a couple. And so you get to choose that. Okay. Step two is advertise. I know this is not a business thing, but you're kind of advertising yourself. So you need to get clear on what you want, and then you need to tell people about it, right? Like I say in business all the time, you can't sell a secret. You can't get what you want if you don't ask for it. So you can advertise in a few different ways. One, if you're in an online group already, like Scott and I are in an online Facebook group, a couple of them. One is regional, one is just within Northwest Arkansas where we live. And in those groups, at least a few times a month, these groups typically have tell me about yourself and your dynamic. This is where you show up and you say, hey, like for example, Scott and I are partnered. So I'll use that as an example. Hey, I'm Jen. 39 now, 39, bisexual, polyamorous, and I am partnered with my love, Scott, 41, straight, period. I wouldn't add polyamorous to him because he doesn't particularly associate with those types of labels, but I think they're important. So I would leave his alone because I don't want to speak for him. And then I would say we are in an E&M relationship and we are interested in having a threesome with a woman. And then I would close it by saying, if you're interested, our DMs are open. And maybe in between those things, adding some stuff in about you, like, hey, we love to play games with friends. We love to go to the river. We love camping. We have 2 dogs. We have teenage kids. We have a neighborhood pool that we love to share with our friends, like whatever. We love grilling out. And so you can start to find people that are in alignment with you. Like maybe you like motorcycles. And so you want to attract people in that are super into motorcycles. And you get where I'm going with this, right? So you're going to advertise. Another place to advertise is online in online dating apps. So you could do something like this maybe on Tinder. Just be careful that your main profile picture is only you. Don't go against terms and conditions or you will be shut down. My favorite app is Field. I just recently did a podcast on this. Field is a really, really good app for dating. Oh, I'll put the link to the podcast that I was featured on that I talked all about dating in the lifestyle. That might be helpful for you. It was with the confident swinger, who is Joe Levitt. And that episode talks all about Field and how to craft your profile. And so that will be really helpful with this part. So you're going to put on Field, again, what I just said. Hey, this is me. This is my partner. We love to have threesomes, or we want to have a threesome with a woman. Please swipe right if that's you, and let's connect. Okay, the next thing that I have, and this is the third and probably last thing, is communicate. Communication is the most important thing. Communicate before, during, and after your threesome. So let's go into each one of those. The first one, communicate before. So I want you to be very, very clear in what you and your partner are looking for. What are you wanting to create? So let's say you find somebody to have a threesome with, then you're going to talk with them before it happens, and say, hey, this is what I'd love to experience, or this is what my expectation is, or this is what I'd like for us to create together, and express that. You don't want to just get really drunk and come together and sort of have sex and then hope that they want to do it again later. Like, put some intention behind this. There's nothing wrong with stating your desires. So let me give you an example. When Scott and our girlfriend and I have nights together, we always set an intention, and we set like, well, what would we like to do? What kind of experience do we want? And so I'll say like, hey, do you want to come over to our house around 6 on Friday? I'll be making dinner. See how I'm setting intention and letting her know what's going to happen. I'll be making dinner. If you could just bring a bottle of red wine, that'll go perfect with the steak that we're going to make. And then we love to actually focus on you tonight. So we have a massage table in our living room. So we are going to put you on the massage table first. And I know that you just bought some new hot wax candles that you want to play with. So we're going to do that on you. And then we are going to make sweet, sweet love to you and give you everything that you want and fill your tank up, because I know you've had a really hard week. And then if you're open to it, we'd love to invite you to spend the night. Can be that easy. If you haven't, been seeing someone for a while, then you could say something a little bit less like ooey gooey and maybe don't spend the night. So you could say, hi, thank you so much for swiping right on my profile. As you can see, we are wanting to have a three-way experience. This will actually be our first. And so we're open to seeing if you're interested in that. She comes back. I'm just assuming it's a she. They come back. And she says, or he says, yeah, absolutely. I'm experienced in threesomes, or, oh, I've always been really curious too. And then you can start to craft what that night looks like. Well, great. Maybe first you want to meet them. Maybe you're like, let's grab a coffee or a beer and see if the three of us drive. That's a safe way to do this. You don't necessarily want to just jump into a threesome. So go have coffee, go have a beer, go walk around a park or whatever. Like, see if there's sexual energy there. Feel free at that point to talk about like testing. It is okay. And you should ask, like, when's the last time that you've been tested? And then from there, move forward in your conversation of, okay, well, it's been a while for us too. Why don't we all get tested and make sure that everybody's clean? And then as soon as we get the green light, we'll schedule something. Or if the conversation comes back to like, oh, you guys just recently got tested and they just recently got tested and everything's clean and everyone feels good, then great. How about we schedule something for Friday night? Then you guys can figure out location. If you don't want to have it at your house or you have kids, get a hotel room. Feel free and confident enough to ask for them to split the cost of the hotel room. I did this a lot when I was dating. I would say like, hey, do you want me to grab an Airbnb? Or I have a favorite hotel in Fayetteville that I really love that's around 100, 120 a night. If you're okay with that idea, then why don't I go ahead and grab it and you can Venmo me for half of it? Just make it part of the conversation. This is also a great place to make sure that you don't set the precedence that you're going to pay for everything all the time, unless that's your thing. But I think it feels weird to always be the one having to pay for everything or having to set up who's going to make dinner that night if you end up having them come to your house or you come to theirs. Like, this is a great time to set the precedence of like, hey, this time, why don't I go ahead and make us dinner? Or why don't I get us dinner reservations? And then just always split. All right. I hope that you appreciated and thought at least the first part of episode 136, how to create a threesome, was interesting. I do get into the technicalities of how to create your threesome because most of us don't just fall into a threesome. Like, you're not all drunk at a bar and all of a sudden you take someone home. I would say that's probably pretty rare. But I do believe that you can, with intentionality, create a really delicious threesome or many of them. And so I like to give you lots of actionable tips that actually help you carry one through. You know what I mean? Take it to the finish line. Okay, so this is the first half and the most listened to part of episode 136, how to create a threesome. Check the link, the show notes below, and I'll have a link to the rest of this episode.
Thank you for listening to the Open Bedroom Podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, go ahead and give us a like and click subscribe below and stay up to date on all the new episodes that we release. If you have a topic that you'd really like more information on, leave us a comment below and we'll see what we can do. Feel free to share this podcast with all of your friends and especially your partners. This is a great way to open up some amazing conversations. We'll see you next week.